Hello and welcome to sommscents. I'm your host, Rachel Kaying, and today we're going to be talking about Wimbledon. So Wimbledon is technically known as the Championships, and it's the oldest tennis tournament in the world. It's also widely regarded as the most prestigious. Wimbledon has been held at the All England Club in Wimbledon, London, since 1877, and is played on outdoor grass courts. It does have retractable roofs over the two main courts, and that's since 2019. Wimbledon is one of the 4 Grand Slam tournaments, the others being the Australian Open, the French Open, and the US Open. So Wimbledon is the only major still played on grass, and that's the traditional tennis playing surface. Also, it's the only Grand Slam that retained a nighttime curfew, so matches can now continue until 11 p.m. under the lights. So the tournament is taking place right now as I'm recording. This is July 2023. It usually takes place in late June to early July, starting on the last Monday in June and culminating with the ladies and gentlemen singles finals scheduled for the Saturday and Sunday at the end of the second week in July. And of course, dates kind of vary every year. This year in 2023, this is actually the 136th staging. And this year, I think it started July 3rd and we'll finish on the 16th. Okay, so why Wimbledon? So I grew up playing tennis. I played on hard courts, clay courts, grass courts. I've even played court tennis or real tennis. If you know, you know, but that's a whole nother discussion. I've been a ball girl for my dogs, sorry. I've been a ball girl for professional matches. We have relatives over in England who attend Wimbledon fairly regularly, even some of my aunts and uncles here in the States. Not every year, but enough. And, tournament is taking place right now, and it's fun, it's exciting, it's a really great experience. So let's talk about what fragrances we would wear to the event, and some that, in my opinion, really recall and some of the great traditions of Wimbledon and make me think of Wimbledon when I wear them. So you might not know, but there are some fragrances out there that have been created and have been inspired by the sport of tennis. One of my favorites is by Xerjoff, and this is Torino21. So if you didn't know, Xerjoff is actually a sponsor of the ATP finals that are held in Turin, which is where I believe Xerjoff is located. The ATP Tour is a worldwide top-tier tennis tour for men, organized by the Association of Tennis Professionals, and it takes place every November in Turin, Italy. If you're around, check it out. It's really great. As for Torino21, I love this fragrance. I've actually purchased a bottle. I think it was 50 milliliter, maybe even 30. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I purchased one back in 2021. I've already gone through it. It's fabulous. I might get another bottle. But it's an eau de parfum. I don't know who the perfumer is. Usually for me, that's a really big red flag, and I would not purchase a perfume if I didn't know who made it. But I received quite a few samples of this, and I love it. I wore the samples. I really enjoyed it. I ended up getting the bottle. It's very minty. And there's a beautiful greenness about it. And of course, as we know, green notes, I love them. Not everyone does. And they can come across sometimes as really too strident, but definitely not in this case. There are some musks in the mid and some beautiful, there's some florals in the mid and some beautiful musks in the dry down that keep it really well-rounded and a little bit warmer than you might think. The top has mint, lemon, thyme, and basil. The heart has jasmine, beautiful jasmine, rosemary, blackcurrant, and lavender to, again, keep that beautiful balance of fresh sport cologne, but, keep it rounded and well-toned, as well as a base of musk and verbena. So Xerjoff did a new scent in 2022. It was Torino22. That fragrance, to me, was woodier, green in a more herbal direction, and much, much more commercial, much more popular of a formulation, in my opinion. That fragrance had bergamot, saffron, eucalyptus, some clary sage, some mate, some gaiac wood. And for me, the addition of that gaiac wood makes it very dry with some musks and dry woods. I hugely prefer Torino21. I feel like it's a much more elevated, elegant fragrance, in my opinion. I definitely think I need to buy another bottle, actually, of Torino21. And I'm curious if they'll come out with a Torino23. So we'll see. Another fragrance that has been inspired by the sport of tennis is actually a vintage fragrance that's quite lovely. It was launched in 1947, and I'm talking about 40 Love by Jean Desprez. So Jean Desprez launched this sport fragrance in 1947, as I said, and the name is actually a reference to the scoring of a tennis match. And if you play a lot of tennis, your ears will immediately perk up. To explain, tennis is a 4-point game that you have to win by a 2-point lead. So the way we score in tennis is that you start out at love, and that's 0. And then as you score points, it goes love, 15, 30, 40, game. If the game is tied at 40, it actually extends until one player wins by a 2-point lead. There are 6 games in a set and 2 or 3 games in a match, depending on how the scoring goes. So if that seems a little complex, just start watching or start playing tennis, and it'll become really intuitive very quickly. So the fragrance, 40 Love by Jean Desprez, I got a great little sample of it, and it's definitely still findable. You can find some samples. You can even find some full bottles, although the bottles at this point are quite expensive. So I would recommend just sampling. In fact, please always sample your fragrances before you purchase. Don't just take the advice of some random person on the internet, including me. We all have different noses. We all have different preferences. Everyone's skin wears perfume differently. So it is such a unique experience, right? Just like food, just like any other art, it really is so subjective. So please always sample before you purchase, if that's a possibility. At least what I try to do. I think, anyway, if you can grab a sample of this, it's really such a wonderful experience. It's so interesting. So 40 Love by Jean Desprez is a chypre floral. It really, what it does is it captures as a good friend here at sommscents, a good friend, Varanus Radari says it captures the smell of athleticism. If you want to read a fantastic review of 40 Love, please read his review on Base Notes. And I'm kind of cribbing off that a little bit because I think it's really on point. And he really makes this distinction between contemporary sport fragrances that really are sanitary versus more vintage, a vintage style, which is like this 40 Love, which does something different. And what it does is, so when you're working out, you're playing sports, you're out in the sun, your body, your skin naturally will heat up, and you'll release, a natural skin scent as your body heats up. So in vintage perfumes, what they're kind of trying to do is they're trying to take that natural hot skin scent and then add to it and make it smell really beautiful, right? So it's naturally more animalic because it really does kind of reproduce, add to, make that natural human odor really beautiful. Whereas in the modern sports fragrances, we want to eliminate it. We want to sanitize it. We want to get rid of it, right? And of course, they're both just styles, right? And neither one is better than the other. They're just different. I enjoy both. 40 Love is just a really, really fantastic and beautiful example of kind of the vintage take on sports fragrances. Even back in the day, Jean Desprez, this brand was really kind of haute luxe, really like hard to find, gorgeous, really elegant and well done. The opening is really aldehydic. Actually, it's not. It's a bit aldehydic with some bergamot, dry rose, geranium, and a bit of galbanum. It has, some vetiver, some cedar tones, civet and oak moss are there with labdanum, again, that classic chypre base. And then a little bit of orris is there. And so, again, what you're really doing is you're smelling athleticism in a bottle. Really, you're selling that warm, a little bit sweaty, really beautiful athletic skin is what you're smelling in this bottle. Gorgeous, especially in the dry down, versus this really clean, sanitized, modern sport fragrance. So if you're interested in that, please grab a sample or a bottle. It's just really a fabulous experience. Interestingly, a little bit of a modern take on this is by Rogue Perfumery and Manny Cross, 40 Rogue. So Manny Cross, he smelled 40 Love and said, oh my gosh, this is lovely. We cannot let this perfume just disappear into the mists of history, right? So this is his contemporary take on 40 Love. It's an interesting cross between a fougere and then that kind of 1970s animalic musky style. The notes are citrus, aldehydes. There's some fruit, basil, tarragon, carnation rose, narcissus, oak moss, and musk. So you get that kind of bracing, fresh fougere aspects. and then with some light florals, and then an animalic musky dry down. It's again a modern take on that vintage style, so it's a little bit cleaner. It's a little bit less animalic, but you still have that beautiful warm skin aspect going on. It's easygoing. It's really suave. It's super sophisticated. If you have a chance to sample this, I really recommend it. It's quite lovely. Love this bottle. Another really cool fragrance that was inspired by tennis. I used up my sample, so I can't show, but is really interesting and really cool, by Imaginary Authors. It is called The Soft Lawn. They made 2 editions of this. I had edition 2.0 that was launched in 2021. The nose behind that fragrance is Josh Meyer, and the notes are tennis ball. And it really does. You really actually can smell, if you play tennis, you know that tennis balls have a very, especially when they're first opened out of the can, have a very distinct smell. You really do get a little bit of that tennis ball smell, along with some ivy, vetiver, lime blossom or linden blossom, oak moss, florals, and grapefruit. So they combine these beautiful green notes into this really fresh, lovely symphony. It's not too sharp, which is lovely. And it really does, if you've ever played on a grass court, it really does kind of bring to mind those sense of being outside playing on a grass court. It's really worth checking out. So Wimbledon has some lovely traditions. Again, it's almost like a semi-formal event, actually. And so some advice I will give you if you attend Wimbledon is, in fact, any professional tennis tournament in general, but it's double or triple when you go to Wimbledon, is that you really need to mind your P's and Q's. Be polite. It's not like football. It's not like soccer. It's not like basketball or NASCAR. And those are all wonderful sports too, with their own fantastic traditions. But when you go to Wimbledon or attend another tennis match, you're sitting very close to the court. So anything that you do or say, anything that you wear can potentially be a distraction to the professional athletes, and you really don't want to do that. So please be on your best behavior. Keep your filters in place. Don't be too loud. Don't do anything that's going to draw attention to yourself, with what you wear, with what you do, with what you say. And it's important because, you're also there to have fun, right? And there are, trust me, there are opportunities to get distracted or be distracting. For example, one of the traditional drinks, there are a couple traditional beverages at Wimbledon. One of them is Lançon champagne. Lançon is a lovely house, and they have a really cool rosé that is often served at Wimbledon. Like there's a champagne tent, that champagne is everywhere. And so especially kind of if the sun is out, if it's hot, it can be difficult in my experience, especially drinking champagne, to kind of notice when you've crossed that line into inebriation. So please just be careful, be aware of yourself and your body and what's going on. But beautiful champagne. I have Bubble by Der Duft. It's kind of a floral, woody fragrance. It's very unisex. It's quite lovely. It has notes of champagne, of cassis, of rose, white musk, muskmallow, chamomile, and sandalwood. This fragrance is gorgeous. This is my backup bottle. I love this fragrance. I really hope that they issue this again. If you've ever had a Cure Royale, this is just spot on for a really lovely Cure Royale or a really gorgeous rosé. Champagne, love this fragrance. I wear it on New Year's Eve all the time. I wear it just anytime I think of an event that has where you want to drink a rosé, champagne, or Cure Royale. Perfect. So great job there. Another traditional drink at Wimbledon is the Pims cup, which is so fun. Okay, so Pims is a gin-based herbal liqueur with a kind of spicy, citrusy notes, and then they mix it with lemonade and fruit to make this really cool, lovely cocktail. And so basically any floral, fruity fragrance would be great here for women. And then you have kind of the more like gin herbal aspect, maybe for a men's fragrance. So I think anything from the Chance line from Chanel would be perfect in this case. Like, here I have a sample. I haven't actually purchased any Chance bottles yet from Chanel, but I'm sure I will at some point. And I just, as a side note, anytime you have events that are where society is important, where you really want to be on, your best behavior, any kind of semi-formal event, please know you can always wear any Chanel fragrance. It's probably the only house where this is true. You can literally walk into a Chanel store, pick any fragrance, literally any single fragrance in a Chanel store, whichever one you're attracted to, whichever one suits you, whichever one you like, and you will be just fine. You will smell beautiful, you will smell appropriate, and you will fit in perfectly with any Chanel fragrance if you go to Wimbledon or many other events of this kind. So you're always safe with Chanel. You will always smell great. For Wimbledon, I think, for example, Chanel Tendre, launched in 2010. The nose behind this fragrance is Jacques Polch. Notes are quince and grapefruit, so you have that nice, nice citrus, fruity aspect. Middle notes are hyacinth and jasmine, and base notes are musk, iris, cedar, and amber. Just a lovely, soft, floral, fruity fragrance. It just smells elegant, put together, perfect for a summer outdoor event. Now, kind of on the men's side, even though both of these fragrances are completely unisex in my opinion, especially this one, we have Fanfare by Thameen. This fragrance is amazing. So this is my full bottle that I haven't really opened yet, but I have tons of samples and I'm working my way through. This fragrance was an instant love when I smelled it. It's new. It was released in 2023. The nose behind this fragrance is Bruno Ivanovic. And really, this is kind of the brainchild of Thameen's new artistic director, Christopher Chong, who was at Amouage for a long time and really did amazing work there. And I'm so excited to see what fragrances they come out with next. By the way, if anyone has tried the new Bohemian Infusion fragrance from Thameen by Maurice Roussel and Alexandra Carlin, please let me know what you think. I'm dying to try it. I haven't tried it yet. Just leave your notes if you can below. I want to know what you think. Go back to Fanfare. This is such a brilliant citrus fragrance, and it's a citrus fragrance that lasts, which is rare, right? So top notes are neroli, lemon, bergamot, floral notes. Middle notes are vermouth, juniper berry, and rosemary, which kind of recalls that like a gin liqueur aspect of Pimm's. And then base notes are vetiver, musk, and patchouli. Oh my gosh, this is just such a perfect summer citrus fragrance that lasts and lasts. It's amazing. If you have a chance, grab a sample. I'm really impressed. Okay, so more cool, fun traditions from Wimbledon. There is the tradition of wearing white, right? So back in the history of tennis, it used to be that anytime anyone played tennis, you should wear white. And then the tennis balls actually were also white color. Now they're yellow, but everything used to be white, basically. So in Wimbledon, the players themselves do have to wear white, and it's also a really common clothing color you'll see from the audience as well. People will wear white colors. They will wear kind of lighter, like especially kind of linen type clothes. So you can't go wrong wearing white to Wimbledon. Definitely. So little tip for women. You might be tempted to wear pearls, but please don't wear pearls outside because it often rains and there's just a lot of ways that weather can really ruin your pearls. So don't wear pearls. Instead, wear like diamond studs or like a diamond tennis bracelet, which is fine in the rain, fine in the sun. Definitely do not overdo it on the jewelry, in my opinion, in Wimbledon. Again, it's just the etiquette, really, you just don't want to. So really don't wear jewelry. And if you do, some diamond studs, maybe a diamond tennis bracelet. That's it. Definitely not pearls, in my opinion, in my experience. So the tradition of wearing white. When I think of Wimbledon, when I think of the tradition of wearing white clothes for sports, I really think of something clean and soapy. When I think of a clean soap fragrance, immediately I think of Naviglio by Milano Fragranze. This fragrance is amazing. Okay, this is my favorite clean soapy fragrance. It was launched in 2021. The nose behind this fragrance is Michel Mulhausen. Top notes of soap, and the soap in here is fabulous. It is, if you've ever been to Europe and stayed in kind of a nicer hotel, they have this beautiful, like it's a kind of hard French soap that is fantastic. This is the soap, right? There's neroli, there's Calabria and bergamot. Middle notes are petitgrain, Haitian vetiver, lavender. Base notes are white musk, water notes, and cedar. This is, it's so refreshing. It's so amazing. It smells like, so here where I live, there's one elder gentleman, and he's literally in his 80s, who still does dry cleaning by hand, the old-fashioned way, like the way that, like in my grandparents' generation, people did dry cleaning. And we use him and he's amazing. And dry cleaning comes back with this particular fragrance. And kind of captured here also, just this old-fashioned, like soapy, clean, elegant, old-fashioned dry cleaning kind of smell. Like this is much less chemically than contemporary, than most dry cleaning. It's really a cool smell. I really love it. So if you have a chance, check out Naviglio by Milano Fragranze. So also thinking of wearing white clothing, I think of white musk, right? Kind of my generation, Gen X, we were kind of like generation white musk, right? Started with the Body Shop. For me, the first white musk fragrance that I found was interesting, elevated, elegant, really kind of worth buying, in my opinion, was Empirio Armani White for Her by Giorgio Armani. Technically, it's a floral woody musk. And it was launched in 2001, created by Alberto Marias and Annie Buzantian. I hope I'm saying that name right. If you know how to pronounce Annie's last name, please let me know in the comments. Top notes are bergamot, orange, mandarin orange, cassia, blackcurrant. Middle notes are ginger, iris, fig leaf, mint, and clove. Base notes are white musk and white wood. This fragrance, again, there's a complexity, there's an elevation, there's an elegance here that's like, wow, okay, this is cool. This is my first bottle of a white musk fragrance that I thought fabulous, right? So definitely check it out if you can. There's still bottles floating around. So in terms of contemporary fragrances, the most interesting white musk fragrance for me today is Musc Outreblanc by Guerlain. I have a sample that I've used up, and I do plan on purchasing a full bottle. It's another floral woody musk for women and men, created by Delphine Jelk, who's, oh man, she's creating some of the best fragrances out there recently. She's fantastic. Launched in 2022. Top notes are white musk, neroli, and musk mallow. Middle notes are iris, orange blossom, and Bulgarian rose. Base notes are milk, sandalwood, and white amber. So if you have a chance to sample Musc Outreblanc by Guerlain, please do. It's some really interesting, elevated, fabulous work. Another cool tradition at Wimbledon is the tradition of eating strawberries and cream. So when you're out and it's warm outside, you're in the sun, strawberries and cream, it just tastes delicious. It's so refreshing. So for that, I think, for me personally, I think of Burberry Her by Burberry. So it's a fruity, floral gourmand, launched in 2018. The nose behind this is Frances Kirkton. Top notes are strawberry, raspberry, blackberry, sour cherry, blackcurrant, mandarin orange, and lemon. Middle notes are violet and jasmine. Base notes are musk, vanilla, cashmere, woody notes, oak moss, amber, and patchouli. I think really anything in this line, Burberry Her, would be great. Another one that's really super strawberry for me is Burberry Her Elixir. Launched in 2022, created by Jerome Marino, Amaya Remo. Top notes are strawberry and blackberry. Middle notes are jasmine. Base notes is vanilla, amber, and sandalwood. And again, this is nice, just really pretty, fruity fragrances. And again, they're elegant, elevated. They're not like, because sometimes with the floral, fruity, kind of gourmand fragrances, they're just so loud. They're so, it's like too much. They're just too much, right? And at Wimbledon, you don't want to stand out too much. You don't want to overwhelm. You don't want to do anything to distract. So at least in my opinion, right? And so having a little bit just lighter, more elegant fragrances, to me, is the way to go. Another great tradition for Wimbledon is rain. It rains a lot in England. England is an island, and it just rains a lot. It rains a lot at Wimbledon. Some cool fragrances that really evoke rain to me are, well, the first one is Ocean Rain by Mario Valentino. This is an aromatic, aquatic cologne for men. Ocean Rain was launched in 1990, and it was behind this fragrance is Edmund Renitska. So one of the greatest perfumers in history, right? A lot of people don't know that he did this. This is one of his last fragrances. Top notes are lavender, green notes, artemisia, lime, basil, bergamot, Amalfi lemon. Middle notes are rose, seawater, cyclamen, thyme, water notes, and fir. Base notes are oak moss, leather, and amber. So this fragrance is so cool because it really captures a moment in time of change, like kind of a bridge between decades, a bridge between styles. This is a moment of experimentation, really, kind of when the whole idea of aquatics, like if you think of Acqua di Gio, right? Like the world of aquatics was really being discovered, experimented on, created. We hadn't gotten to Acqua di Gio yet. So this is Rudnitska's kind of take on what an aquatic should be like, which is fascinating. So even if you don't end up getting a bottle, if you can find, and there are people that do decant these, get a decant, study it for historical purposes, to see a world in transition. It's fascinating because on the top you do get these really cool aquatics. It's not super clean. It's not really zen or minimalist the way that Acqua di Gio and kind of those 90 fragrances are. This is like a whole nother take on the ocean. It's really fabulous. And in the base, you get these kind of more traditional aspects, like from the 80s, like more of those cheaper aspects that are, and fougere aspects that are really interesting. It's so cool. So definitely recommend this one. This one's really great, especially for gentlemen out there. Then I have this one, Rain by Don Spencer Horowitz. This is a floral fragrance, right? Rain was launched in 2018. You have top notes of bergamot, middle notes of carnation, neroli, gardenia, honeysuckle, hyacinth, rouget, and iris. Base notes are musk and orris root. So this fragrance is so cool because it really does smell like a garden right after the rain. Like if you've ever stepped out just as soon as the rain stops and it's still just coming down very, very gently, and the way the flowers kind of open up and you get that petrichor from the earth and you get this beautiful, beautiful kind of wet floral fragrance. This is it. This is really a piece of art, honestly. And it's so beautiful. And this I love to wear actually right after it really has rained in the real world, because this will kind of connect your body to the outside real world in a way that is fabulous. And it brings those florals to you, to your surroundings. It kind of embeds you in the real world in that rain-soaked setting that you're in. It's gorgeous. So definitely, if you have a chance and are interested, give this a try. Rain by DSH, Don Spencer Horowitz Perfumes. Another really cool fragrance is by the great Christophe Lademiel, genius perfumer. This is Vetiver Rain Sky by the Zoo NYC. This is a woody aquatic fragrance for women and men. It was launched in 2016. And again, Christophe Lademiel, like genius, right? I recommend you check out everything he does for anyone, including his own brand, which is the Zoo NYC. He also does tons of work for many, many other houses. So Christophe, his work, I believe he's one of the greatest living perfumers. His work is avant-garde, right? Some of the most interesting structural ideas, kind of a lot of what's next comes out in his work. The Zoo NYC is, in my opinion, the most interesting like avant-garde house probably that is out there today. Another fabulous avant-garde house is Quartana. Joseph Quartana is the owner. Anyway, this is just an example of a Quartana fragrance, Ierofante, which came out and won a big award. Anyway, if you want to know what is fabulous, beautiful wearing, amazing fragrances that are really interesting intellectually, that are beautiful viscerally on your body, check out the Zoo NYC, check out Quartana, amazing house. So, Vetiver Rain Sky. C notes: grapefruit, bergamot, orange blossom. In the middle, you get violet leaf, Haitian vetiver, sage, sandalwood, and the base you have musk, oak moss, and labdanum. So kind of the idea that Christophe had behind this fragrance, and you can read about this on his website, was a dewy rainforest with kind of an abstract volcanic soil and a ray of sunshine. Then there are 3 varieties of vetiver in the heart here, combined with sensual sandalwood and violet leaf extract. There's uplifting marine notes and a touch of grapefruit with natural orange flower absolute. There's just this beautiful optimism, this brightness and energy, right? It's like a green ball of freshness after the rain that plays with a natural green leaf extract and violets grown in Egypt, French sage and labdanum vapors for like an organic woodiness. And you wrap this fragrance with a transparent veil of molecular musks and moss. It's amazing, in my opinion. Fabulous for being outside in the sun, especially. Really great. So, Vetiver Rain Sky by the Zoo. Oh, there's another one. Oh, I left my bottle upstairs. After the Rain by Darren Allen. Beautiful. Again, you get that gorgeous kind of damp soil, green, like grass and flowers, a beautiful nature after the rain, like broken stems underfoot, wet rocks, like that, barely perceptible sweetness of like honeysuckle on a warm summer breeze. This is just fresh air, sunshine, summer rain. on your skin. It's gorgeous. You get like abstract aquatics, kind of ozone, fresh air, wet rocks, wet soil. Just, it's beautiful. It's a little bit more light. It's a little bit more abstract. Gorgeous. Just like stepping out into the air right after it rains. So After the Rain by Darren Allen. Sorry, my bottle's upstairs. Another great one to check out. All right, so those are kind of some ideas that I had about Wimbledon based on the traditions of Wimbledon and what it's like to actually go. If I was going this year, we're not, obviously, but if I were going to go, what would I actually wear to Wimbledon if I was going this year? So normally when you go, you don't just go for one day, you go for several days, right? And so I would actually wear, this is something that I just picked up recently. I think if I was going, I would wear some fragrances from the Armani Privé line. Here's a set of fragrances. These are eau de toilette fragrances. Why? So these are polite. These are restrained. They have a polite sillage, yet they are gorgeous. They're elevated. They're fresh outside in the heat. They're well made. I know a lot of people want beast mode fragrances. They want people to smell them 10 miles away. But again, when you're going to a semi-formal event that does require politeness and a bit of restraint, gosh, these are perfect. And we've been spending a lot of time outside in really hot and humid conditions in Asia. So I've really started to kind of explore some of these lighter fragrances that I, before as a perfumista or perfume head, I might not have given a lot of attention to. And so I'm starting to really understand in those kind of weather conditions how amazing they are. And I was really struck when I was in Taiwan. I was really, really struck by how great these are. So let's kind of go through them. So I'd probably pick one. I'd probably take these, and I'd probably pick one to wear every day. Let's see. Let's start with Burberry Her Elixir. I would probably wear that one day. This is like a woody aromatic. It won an award in 2008, actually. The notes are bergamot, lemon, mandarin orange, pink pepper, cardamom, coriander, vetiver, patchouli. Again, these are just, they're so restrained, they're so elegant, yet they're so complex. They're beautiful. It's a gorgeous citrus opening, kind of like a lovely, morning breeze, airy, ephemeral, like a gauzy kind of fine fabric. They're just so subtle, sophisticated. Really great choice for an outdoor sporting event. Another one that I really love is Yulong. This is the aromatic green fragrance. Julie Mass is the perfumer, and you get mandarin orange, petitgrain, cardamom, green tea, some black tea, orange blossom, jasmine, vetiver, musk mallow, iris. And this is a soapy, kind of fresh, light fragrance. It's a little bit earthy. I think of like a fancy spa, right? I think of like kind of some fancy spa water. The tea notes are definitely Western tea notes, like kind of general, not as specific, not as complex as tea notes you might find elsewhere in other perfumes, but they're still lovely, right? Again, this is very calming, spa-like fragrance. And then another one that I would probably take is Pivoine Suzhou. This is a sheep or floral fragrance by Cécile Maton and Julie Mass. It's got raspberry, pink pepper, mandarin orange, peony, may rose, musk, patchouli, amber. Again, this is a neutral, soft, elegant, kind of classic. It's got a little bit of a shampoo, kind of a freshness that does work well on the outside. There's another fragrance that I like a lot called Rose Alexandrie, which is, again, a clear, soapy fragrance, bright, fresh, gauzy, right? This one is a little bit sweeter and a touch heavier than that one. I prefer it. And it's interesting. So I read that a lot of these fragrances were actually based on some Asian notes and some Asian gardens and places in Asia, which is interesting. And so you do get more of that lighter feel that is, more popular in Asian markets these days. And again, it's just really suitable for this kind of event like Wimbledon that is outside. You're sitting close together with lots of people. You're sitting very close to the court where the athletes are playing. You don't want to bomb anyone with anything, with your clothes you're wearing, with the scent you're wearing, with your what you say, like you want to be soft and quiet, pretty much with all of your person, just for politeness and just out of respect for the athletes and what's going on around you. So yeah, I would probably wear some of these if I was going this year, just because I'm really interested in these fragrances. They're really lovely, even though they're restrained and polite and they're sillage. These would also be great wear to work fragrances. Yeah, so I hope that you've enjoyed talking a little bit about Wimbledon. Please check out the actual event. It's on TV. You can watch it online. And if you happen to go one day, let me know if you've been before to Wimbledon. Let me know your experience, what you think about it. It's so fun. And thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope to talk to you guys soon.